Oh, I have a question actually.
Okay.
You're not living too far from Bretton
Bretton Woods.
Woods,
No,
am I
I live
right?
right. I live just across. I mean, when I say mountain, it's a mountain, but it's not a mountain like Switzerland mountains. But anyways, I live right across a notch in the mountains from Bretton Woods. So it's about 45 minutes from here. I don't know, 25 miles, 30 miles, something like that. Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's
everybody knows the name Bretton Woods, and
right.
people think it's a conference they had in 1944, but it's actually, what is it?
Well, it is a town, but it's a tiny town. I don't even know how big it is. I'll give you the hotel that the conference was at is still there, and it's a very nice hotel. I mean, if you imagine when they built it, back in 1900 or whatever, it was an awesome hotel for its day, and so it's still an awesome hotel, but because of its age, it's an awesome old hotel. I mean, it's in good condition. It's called the Mount Washington Omni Hotel. But the post office for the town is in the hotel. So that'll tell you how big the town is, right? It's downstairs in the bottom floor. It's not in the basement. It's right on the bottom floor with a couple of other shops that you could shop. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very tiny town. I mean, there's a ski area right up the street. I mean, it's a beautiful hotel. I think everybody should visit. I think they have a gold room that commemorates the events that happened there. Lots of nice photos. Everything you remember, if you looked at what happened there. Lots of nice photos of the event. It's not a huge room. It's small, but yeah, it's kind of cool. It's an interesting place, and it
So
has a
the
beautiful view of Mount Washington, which is the big mountain up here, which is not that
so
big.
so the Bretton Woods Conference of 1944
Yeah.
changed the financial world because the Americans persuaded the rest of the world to take dollars
Mm.
and trade in dollars as opposed to trading in gold. And because in the old days, when you had a trade imbalance, you'd exchange gold with the other country. And it's far more efficient to move dollars around through electronic means than to physically transport the gold.
Mm.
And the promise was that America would always honor the redemptions by foreign governments of dollars for gold at the fixed price of $35 an ounce.
Mm. Mm.
And that promise was reneged on in 1971 when President Nixon said, "We are temporarily suspending the gold window."
Right.
And that's still temporarily suspended, meaning nobody can change their gold at the old price anymore.
Right.
But perhaps you have a view. What's your view about gold or silver, let's say? What do you think? Is that an investment for you?
It is. I mean, I don't think it. I mean, yes, I have some gold and some silver. Yeah, so I think a gold. I think of gold as insurance. I don't. I bought gold the first time I bought gold. I can't remember the price. I don't remember $800. I don't remember. It was a while ago. But anyways, all the gold I've ever bought, and I continue to buy gold here and there. I bought simply as insurance. I mean, I think of it as when I put my money down, the money that I'm putting down is eventually going to lose value. But when I put it down into gold, it'll maintain its value. It won't maintain, gold is not, gold is money. To me, that gold is, or anything that's real, I don't want to say it's money, but has more value than money. I mean, money gets debased constantly. I mean, when we talk about their planned 2% inflation rate, which always doesn't end up being 2%. But anyway, so yeah, I buy gold because I think it's got a massive 5,000 year history of being money, and it will continue to be that way. So yeah, that's the way. But I don't think of it as an investment. I think of it as as insurance. So I don't have. Actually, I don't even know what percentage of my. I mean, the problem is it keeps going up, in value, so it's tough to say. But I don't have a huge percentage of my savings in gold. It's probably 10 or 15%. I mean, that's kind of big, but it's not massive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about right. I used to say, I used to publish what's called an asset allocation table on LinkedIn every year. And I used to put down 12% exposure to gold or silver, which is absolutely in line with what you say you might have. But I did kind of, I haven't changed it on my asset allocation table, but when people ask me now, and I say, I think 18% is probably the right number. That's higher than, so it's 50% higher than the 12%. But part of the reason for saying that is anybody who had the 12% now has 18%
Right.
anyway.
That's why I had to think because right, right. I mean, I don't sit. I have a spreadsheet. I keep my spreadsheet on everything that I have, and including real estate and everything else. And the real estate is always obviously just a guess. I mean, it's valued at something, but who knows what you're actually going to get for it. Um, and real estate, by the way, I don't think about real estate. The real estate that I own, anyways, I don't think about it like I do a stock. I should, but my real estate is literally just land and that I don't live in. I mean, I live in my house. I think of that as the place I live, but it's also real estate. But anyways, I should probably think about my real estate more like a dividend paying stock and use it as a rental or something. But right now I don't. But anyway, yeah, gold is insurance to me, and that's the way I think of it. And it's in my spreadsheet, and I just every now when I open up my spreadsheet every quarter and I recalculate everything, you know, I mean, I know how much gold I have, so I do have a sense of what I have. I just don't.
At least you can count the coins. And
Yeah,
I mean, the good thing is, whatever happens to your money, if it goes to nothing, those gold coins will still be there.
right. That's the insurance. That's what I'm
It was,
saying.
yeah,
Right,
it was gold before, and it will be gold afterwards.
right. And it's not going to
If you go,
rust.
if we go into a currency reset, for example, the currency reset is where something bad happens to the money and they have to start something new.
Right,
You don't know what you're going to come out with on the other side, but it's
right,
not going to be as much money as you had before they had the reset, and it's not
right,
going to, the if it's a new currency, for example, they'll only let you change part of your old currency into the new one. So that's fine if you're the man in the street, you've got $500 or $1,000 or maybe even $10,000. But if you happen to have $50,000, the chance of you being allowed to change it all into the new currency at the fixed rate is approximately zero.
right. And I also think that at that point, particularly if that reset or if it's planned or not planned. I mean, first of all, I don't think something like that is going to happen without a situation that causes it to happen. In other words, it'll be like a crisis, and it could be a big crisis, small crisis. But anyways, whatever the level of crisis, when they make such a change, most people don't even understand money. That's one of the things I was going to say that I wanted to, when you tell a child, you try to help them understand money and what it means, and it isn't just a piece of paper. But anyways, people will be very disconcerted and there'll be great concern. And so people they'll trust. It's not necessarily that they won't trust the money at all. I mean, in some places where there was hyperinflation in the past, they would just get rid of that money as fast as they could and try to buy walnuts, whatever they could get that was a real thing, right? Because they just didn't trust the money. I don't know that it'll go that bad, but my point is people will look at gold and land and anything else and have faith because they can sit on the chair that they just bought, or they can hold it, and they know that this gold that they had in the hand has 5,000 years of history of being money. They'll have faith, more faith in that than the money. Even if it's a nice orderly transition, there'll be some question like, what the hell's going on here? I don't know what's going on. So I think for that, at that point, even if it's a nice orderly transition, people will be skeptical and gold will hold its value. In fact, I don't think of it as gold increasing in value. Gold will hold its value, and people will have less faith in the money. You know what I mean? And so gold will go up in price, but whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think also, even in a situation where it's going to be an orderly transition,
Mhm.
people will know what is happening, and they'll want to use the old money while they still can to buy anything which will hold its value. Well, that actually means that it's going to be pretty hard to get your hands on gold or silver or land or anything which is going to hold its value because you'll be in competition with everybody else. So
Right.
it's a bit like I don't know if this ever happened in America, but in Europe we constantly have these scares that we're going to run out of toilet rolls, um, and every time it seems to happen, every housewife rushes down to the supermarket and buys as many toilet rolls as she can, and there's never any toilet rolls. And they put up all these signs saying, "Please don't take more than one pack," and there's
Right.
enough to go around. It's don't panic. And of course, the don't panic basically says to people, they're telling us not to panic. I want to be first in the line.
Yeah, that's right. No, during COVID at the beginning, there were people walking out with carts full of toilet rolls, and it was just like, "What are you doing? It take you 10 years to use all those." But anyways, yeah. So they were ended up with nothing on the shelves. But
I remember when I was young, there was a sugar panic. I've no idea what the reason why we're going to run out of sugar was. I was probably about 7 years old or 8 years old. But I remember my mother coming home from the supermarket, pleased as anything that she'd managed to grab the last bag of sugar off the shelf.
Yeah. No, that happens here. I don't think we had a sugar, but yeah, though the toilet paper, I don't know what you call it, mania was a real thing, and it was crazy. People would they trade these things for toilet paper for crazy, because people would literally be running out of toilet paper because they couldn't get it at the store, and they'd be, anyways, it was a crazy moment in time. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I agree at that point. And again, my basic thinking is that I don't think anybody in the world wants civil unrest and instability and craziness, Mad Max. So I think in general, most of my focus in investing, I'll say, in life, is to set up a situation, set up myself so that it's an okay situation. It'll, in my opinion, it'll be a degrading standard of living kind of thing. Anyways, I don't think it'll be a crazy Mad Max thing, but I think it's like, what do they call it? A barbell thing. I think you got to have a little bit out on the other side of the barbell that says, "Uh-oh, what if we do have Mad Max?" And that's where the gold comes in. That's where a little bit of property comes in. There's other things that are on that list. So yeah, I don't think that'll happen, but the last thing you want to do is, be in that situation and not have some preparation for it. So I'm not like an act. I mean, I do have some food and stuff like that in the other room, but it's not like I got 2 years worth of food. I mean, but you know what I'm saying. I do think it's important to consider that, because we're not in the steady environment that we were, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Before I demarcate everything by the .com crash, but really it's probably the great financial crisis is more apt for that kind of thinking, because that affected everybody. The .com crash affected me and all the people that were in that industry, but most people probably didn't get surprised by that or hurt by that as much. So anyways.
Quentin, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on my show. If any viewers have got questions for me or Quentin, just pop them into the comments under the video. I'm going to let Quentin maybe say a few words if there's anything else he'd like to say to finish off. But obviously, if you can like and subscribe and you like this, there'll be plenty more videos. I'm doing videos about learning how to invest. I've got some great videos coming up on different ways to pick stocks and other investments. So stay tuned. Quentin, any last words from you?
No, I think your videos are awesome. I think your channel is really coming along great. I go to it all the time in anticipation of a new video. And I thank you so much for having me on again. And be kind with the comments. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Stay on the line for a second, Quentin.